Hello and welcome back to another video, and in this video I'm going to be going through the best team compositions for Violet. So just a quick explanation of Violet's abilities. She gives herself and her allies a lot of armor and reduces damage taken through her force field. In my opinion, the best team composition for Violet is a double support tank team. There are two types of tank variations and two types of support variations. Firstly, you can go with either a more offensive or defensive tank. Your offensive tanks would be like Mr. Incredible and Simba, but just because they are offensive tanks, it does not mean that they cannot take a hit. But your more defensive tanks are Oogie and Wally. They don't do as much damage, but in terms of soaking damage, they are on another level, especially Oogie. But with support, you can either go for more damage or more healing. If you're running a defensive tank, realistically you need more damage. You need a more damaging support, and the best person for this job is simply Jack Skellington. You can use Jack Skellington with an offensive tank and still see great results though. But if you require more healing, the best option is simply Mickey. I am now going to show you some gameplay of the offensive lineup and the more defensive lineup, both of which will be taking on the hardest fight in the story, which is the final fight in Chapter 7 on expert difficulty. And keep in mind, Violet is only level 50, so at a higher level, expect her to take hits better and give even more armor. So for this gameplay, I'm going to be using Mr. Incredible, Jack Skellington and Violet. This team works extremely well together, and let's just get straight into it. So we've got a first wave of each of the four elementals. I think these are called the major elementals. No, major Titanborn, something like that, but it's pretty easy work, doesn't really affect us too much. It's just a little bit of a time waster. We won't lose any health at all, and we'll even gain a lot of armor. So the reason why this team works extremely well together is because it does decent damage, because Mr. Incredible alone does okay damage. It isn't as good as he was before the nerf, but it's pretty solid. But when you've got Jack Skellington, it just levels up that damage. I'm actually going to take focus here because we don't really need the armor, nor do we need the health, because we've got that covered with Jack Skellington and Violet. And another reason why I like this team is because Jack Skellington also does a little bit of damage. It is kind of underrated. It's not like out of this world like Gaston level damage, like single target, but it's pretty good. But in this fight, we're going to want to control Jafar, because if he gets his special off, one of our allies will be rooted, and it will be very dangerous because he will just do a lot of damage very quickly. And if it's Mr. Incredible, he can't dodge out the way, and he can't hit Jafar back because Jafar's also a range guardian. Okay, so now we've got a genie spawned. We now want to attack him. Right, perfect. Violet special. It knocked down Jafar, so he did not use his special. And now because because Genie is now invincible, I was able to target Jafar. But now we need to switch back to Genie, and then once we get Genie indestructible, oops, that was a mistake. But once Genie goes indestructible, Jafar will be stunned, and then we can focus on Jafar again. And then once Jafar's stunned expires, you can move back onto Genie for that final indestructible phase, and then back to Jafar. It's just rinse and repeat really, and then making sure that that special does not go off. Even if he's indestructible, you want to just use that special so he doesn't get his special off. Now let's go back to Jafar. And this is going to be a pretty long fight, just because this Jafar has a lot of health, especially because of the mechanic with Genie where you need to go back and forth, and there's a lot of indestructibility. As you can see there, we were rooted because we let that special go off, and he has taken a decent amount of damage, but we were able to use our special anyways, which knocked him down, which allowed us to continue. But look at that armor, look at that health is completely full, and where this fight is very easy so far. Again, we were rooted, but we were still able to use that special, so some of that root time is with Jafar on the floor. He's taken a bit of damage, but nothing too much. We've got 12 defense stacks and a lot of healing coming in. Okay, we've got another Genie, so we need to switch to him. Okay, and let's just get to his first indestructible phase, and I'll go back to Jafar. Use a heavy, use our special, just so we have that yellow icon. I forget what it's called. I think it's Mighty Justice, but it doesn't matter. So we're going to get to another indestructible phase. and then go back to Jafar. As you can see, this is level 50 Violet. Okay, now she's taking a bit of damage. It's probably because of all those elementals. I'm just gonna focus on these two, just because we want to get the fight ended as soon as we can, especially because there's a timer. And we'll leave the elementals to Jack Skellington. Hopefully he targets them and he doesn't target Genie, because we've got him covered, especially when he's indestructible. Let's just take out one and let's just continue with Jafar. I actually timed that pretty poorly. I should have waited for the indestructible to run out, but it's fine. Let's just continue. Use a heavy. Oops, did not work. I hate when that happens. But look, as you can see, we're taking a lot of damage here. We weren't able to use our special even when we were rooted, so we just took way too much damage. But we'll be fine. Jack Skellington will heal all the allies, and then Violet will just top us off with some armor. Again, we were in a bit of a tricky situation, but once we got rid of the crowd, it's very easy to just get back into a very solid position where basically I have full health on everybody. I was able to use that special, nice and well timed, and Violet's going to be stacking up that armor again and again. Let's just use another heavy. Perfect. Jafar won't be able to use his special, and we won't be able to get damaged. Okay, let's just use another special ability, and the fight's nearly over. Okay, we've got a few more Titanborn spawned. And again, we'll just leave him alone. Focus on Jafar. Knock him down again. Let me just get this guy out of the way. Focus on Jafar. Jack Skellington doing a bit of damage, and he's getting in a bit of a bad position, so I think I'm going to have to help him out a bit here. Alright, let's just counter that special first. And looks like all the enemies are disappeared, so it's just Jafar again. Okay. Perfect knockdown. Got lucky there. Alright. Great special. And overall, it was a very, very easy fight. It did take quite a while. And I'm not sure if Violet was possibly level 80. If I didn't already mention, Mr. Incredible is level 80, Jack Skellington is level 80, and Violet is level 50. And maybe if Violet was also level 80, I would be able to do this much quicker. But one thing's for sure, this team is pretty good for just a level 50 Violet. So for this clip, I'm going to be replacing my level 80 Astral 2 Mr. Incredible with my Astral 3 level 70 Oogie. And this is going to be the more defensive team. So you're going to notice with this team, you won't be doing as much damage, but you will be sustaining a lot better, because Oogie will apply those attack debuffs, which basically means the enemies are doing less damage, and so you're able to take more hits without losing as much health. So we're just going to dodge all these elementals and these Titanborns. I'm going to actually hit this one in behind because I don't want Violet or Jack Skellington to take too much damage. And we're just going to tank our way to the next wave. It's not going to be as quick as the Mr. Incredible fight, although that was a pretty long fight as well. But it's going to get the job done 100%. And I'm actually going to cut this video off before it's complete, because I don't want this video to be too long. I just want to showcase this team composition, and I'll tell you how long was remaining of this 4:30 in the top before we had to end it, or before we beat Jafar at least. Okay, now we're actually at Jafar, and let's see how we do sustainability wise. Okay, let's just skip this. Oogie's just doing his thing. He's stunned. Just wait for that special, and then use our special. He does pretty decent damage. That's probably attributed to Jack Skellington boosting his damage, but it's definitely not as much as Mr. Incredible. Okay, and look at that armor. Max armor and maxed health, basically, except for Violet. But it is what it is. And now we're just going to copy what we did before. Just focus on Genie. 5k special is pretty strong. but Genie doesn't go to his first indestructibility phase as fast as Mr. Incredible, but that's fine. Let's just do it again. Let's use our special. We stunned Jafar. That was pretty lucky. And now go back to Genie, but Genie's using his special, so we're going to dodge out the way. And Violet looks like she's in a little bit of trouble. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually switch to Violet. And then we're going to use our heavy attacks and we're going to use our basic attacks to build up defense buffs. And because Oogie is just a tank, you don't really need to control him. But it is ideal because you really want to counter those specials in this fight. But in most cases, you don't really need to control Oogie. Maybe at the start, build up that armor. And then you can just continue controlling Violet, because she is probably the most likely to die, especially because she's level 50 in this case. And we're just going to continue for a bit. Unlucky, we just got rooted, and we'll just have to let Oogie tank that. It's not the end of the world. And let's just use our special again. And it's just rinse and repeat with this fight. But as you can see, it's very easy to build up armor. And we're building armor very quickly, especially with Oogie, because he's got one of the highest defenses in the game. And if Violet was at high level, maybe level 80, so 30 levels higher, and better talents, she would be I don't think her talents are improved actually. So just basically at level 80, she would be giving a lot more armor, and that bar would be increasing a lot faster. So it just shows you that she's pretty good. And I'm definitely going to be going for her. But I don't want this video to be too long, and I want to explain the problems and the pros of single support, which is just Violet. So we're going to move on to that now. One single support team for Violet is Mr. Incredible, Gaston and Violet. In this team, you want to basically control Mr. Incredible to attract all the enemies and switch to Gaston before his special is ready, just to throw a heavy attack to maximize damage from his special, and then quickly switch back to Mr. Incredible, and then continue. However, this team has a major weakness, and it's solely based on the fact that Violet does no healing. And it is simply damage over time effects, because if your only support is Violet, there is no way to heal the damage taken, and so you could possibly lose someone even though their armor is full. So be careful when against a lot of Titan Bomb swarms and even guardians that inflict a lot of damage over time effects like Honor. However, you could possibly throw in a Blue maybe, and he could heal some of the damage from the damage over time effects. However, you still have a third that doesn't really work out, so keep that in mind. Overall, these are the best team comps for Violet in my opinion. However, this does not mean that they're the only viable comps. You could possibly run someone like Gaston, Scrooge and Violet. But in most things, I do believe these are the best team comps. But thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.